our seats now.
What do you want me to do? Run around to people who have questions?
Geez, that was really easy. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. My name is Mary Moeller, and I want to welcome all of you to our meeting tonight. We've got a great panel of guests, and I'm so excited about having them come. You can see some of their products here on the table. And I want to ask a question, though. How many of you guys attended the Makers Faire? How many are new tonight, have never been here? And how many came because of the Makers Faire, because of our table? Anybody? A couple of you. Okay, great. How many have never attended the Makers Faire? All right, if you have never attended the Makers Faire, it's always in June, and it's held at Union Station. And I would strongly suggest you come, bring your family. It's a great family event, but it's just a great event to come to if you've never been to it. So it'll be next June. You can watch our website because we'll always have it posted on our website. So that way you'll know when it is. But just kind of keep that in mind because the Makers Faire is an absolutely great event. So we here at the Inventor Center of Kansas City are all volunteers. So all of us that are on the board are volunteers. We volunteer our time. And our goal is to help anybody that is an inventor know where to start, where to move forward, and how to get your business up and running. So with that being said, we could use some volunteers. So if you have anything, any idea that you think would be good and be helpful for our organization, please feel free to visit with one of our board members. Would all the board members please raise your hands so that people can know who you are? And we'll introduce ourselves too in just a little bit. So, oh, Sean, I'm glad to see you could make it. Have to give somebody a bad time. The other thing I'd like to say is I invented tuna pants tonight. So on the way down here, I was having a tuna salad sandwich, and it spilled all over my pants. I didn't know that until I got out of the car. So, you know, just that's what happens, you know. So, at any rate, also we're in the process of redoing our website. And this week we were so fortunate in that we had a young man that's starting a new business, and he has had a business for a period of time, but he's adding on to his old business, and he's offered to come forward and do our copyright for our website. Those are the kind of things that we can really use help with. And at some point or another, he will be at our meetings here, and I will certainly introduce him and have him tell you a little bit about what he does in his business, because he is absolutely doing a phenomenal job for our website. And those are the kind of things we need. If any of you here know of anybody, or if any of you are interested in helping us to keep the website updated, it would be 2 to 3 hours a month. So please get in touch with one of our board members and let us know. We are also looking for someone that would be interested and loves to go to trade shows or interested in trade shows. We would like to make ICKC's presence better known, and to do that, one of the things that we can do is become involved in trade shows. So if you have an interest in trade shows, know anything about them, would like to be able to help us, maybe get into the trade shows, chairman, that type of a committee, we would certainly appreciate your help. Those of you that are standing behind, feel free to come up and take a chair and have a place to sit. All right, thank you. Now, the other thing is, Kurt, did you collect business cards outside there yet? Okay. So if you have not put your little business card into the blue box, we're going to go ahead and hand it around again so that you can put your business card into the little box. Our speakers tonight have graciously given us gifts to draw and hand out to you guys. And so with that in mind, if you have a business card, please put your business cards in there so that we can draw your name and you can get one of our wonderful gifts from tonight. So if you don't have a business card, let us know. We're also going to have you fill out some other forms. Another form, I guess we maybe aren't, now that I think about it, because we didn't have enough copies of them. So the feedback form, do we have enough? Okay. So if you don't have a business card, make sure you fill out the feedback form, because we will also draw 1 or 2 of the gifts from the feedback form list also. So you'll have 2 chances to actually get, if you have a business card and you fill out the feedback form, you'll have 2 chances to win one of the prizes. All right, so now our next meeting is on August 20th, and same place here, same time. And that meeting is going to be on intellectual properties. And if you have an invention or you're in the process of moving forward with your invention, you won't want to miss this meeting either. We're going to discuss patent searches, patents, trademarks, and copyright. So it's another great meeting for you to be able to hone in on your knowledge and know what the next step will be. Tonight's guests, I am excited to introduce them, and let's have them go ahead and come up here. We have Bob Colston. Bob's idea came of Bandit Guns, which is on the end over there, came from his 9-year-old son. And he's going to tell you a little bit more about it, but he made his debut a year ago at the Makers Faire, and since that time he has sold over $600,000 in sales for his Bandit gun, rubber band gun. And he, on Kickstarter alone, raised $54,000 to help get his business off the ground to get it moving forward. So he's going to tell you a little bit more about that while we're on the panel. Our next guest is Kay Smith. Kay is with Collegiate. Thank you. Kay has a business called Collegiate Costumes, and her business is about 5 years old. She wanted a costume for her child 5 years ago for a ball game. And there was nothing available like what she wanted. So she went ahead and designed her own, has turned it into a business, and now she sells online. I think you sell online mostly, right?
In stores.
And in stores, too. So she's going to tell you a little bit more about her business. Then we have Rich Melton. Rich, where are you? Here he comes. Rich, his website, I'm sorry, I should give you their websites, too. Bob's is banditguns.com. Kay's is collegiatecostumes.com, and it's COLLEGIATE, costumes.com, and this will be on our website, too. And then Rich's is cover6, the number 6, gear.com. So if you're interested in what he has. And he started his business last September. His sales have been going so well that he is constantly expanding his company, and it's just growing bigger and better all the time. So he's going to tell you a little bit more about what he does. And then our final person is Sherry McMahon. And Sherry is a founder. Sherry is a founder and CEO of Grace-Filled Gifts. And she believes that we're all given special talents. And she applied her creativity and spatial reasoning skills and strong mechanical aptitude to develop the Shook S necklace extenders. And Shooks? Okay, Shook's necklace extenders. And she's going to tell us more about her business as we go on here too. So I'm going to go ahead and have our guests go through and tell what they, more about their business, and then we'll open it up after they're completed. They'll spend maybe, about 5 or 6, 7 minutes telling us about their business, and as soon as they're completed telling us about their business, then we will open it up and let you ask them questions. So with that in mind, Bob, why don't you go ahead and get started? You've been in the hot seat before.
Hello, I'm Bob Colston. I guess, like I said, I spoke a couple months ago, I guess, so maybe some of you have heard it. I'm an inventor like you. I just sat in the audience. I've been coming to this a couple years, and I'm a woodworker, contractor, and my son, he didn't invent it. You know, you said my son invented it. I wish, but he wanted the most awesomest rubber band gun ever, so I thought I made him a cool one, but he didn't like it, so I kept making it, and I did debut it. It was last year in Makers Faire. Sold out the first day, so I thought, well, maybe I got something. So then I went back and regrouped, launched it on Kickstarter.com, and sold to 24 countries, about $54,000. And that's kind of when the ball started rolling. Hold on to like a tiger by the tail. So now I'm in 35 countries, and I don't know how many. I lose count. And then I've got a video I can show you, because a lot of vendors make their own videos of your product. So I thought this one was kind of cute. It's I don't know if you guys have heard of VAT19.com. It's a pretty funny video. Short. That way I don't have to talk. I push play.
And that is how you do it. Sorry. Wreak intentional havoc with Bandit Guns. Rubber band guns that have a satisfying pump action to load the next round. Bandit Guns are made from laser-cut birch plywood that you assemble yourself. Simply stack the plies as instructed, fasten them together with the included plastic screws, add rubber bands for tension, and shoot your new weapon up to 25 feet. The ratcheting release mechanism enables 3 modes of firing. For the always classic pump and squeeze, alternate between sliding the forearm handle and pulling the trigger. For a trigger-happy rapid-fire mode, hold the trigger down as you pump the forearm handle. And for a truly effective shotgun blast, slide the pump 9 times, then pull the trigger to release a scattered blast of all 10 bands. Each Bandit gun includes plenty of starter ammo, so you can get right to taking down bad guys. Bandit guns are fun and safe with reasonable use, but have some common sense.
It's still there. Let me try the shotgun blast.
Have a blast with Bandit Guns. Buy them now at VAT19.com.
VAT19.com.
Amazing.
No, what you're thinking of is a pterodactyl. Okay, you stay safe.
They order, I don't know, 200 or 300 a week from me. They're in St. Louis, Missouri, so it wasn't too hard of a sale. I don't know. That pretty much says it all. Just hold on.
What's the cost again?
What's the cost? I sell them online for $35, but if you see me in person, I can sell them for $25. So, that's all I got.
Well, I have to say, my son saw that at Maker Faire and wanted one, and we hadn't gotten him one, so
okay.
I guess I'll be hitting you up for a $25 one. My name's Kay Smith, and I created the Jayhawk costume, started Collegiate Costumes about 5 years ago. My little boy needed a KU costume, I was convinced, and so my friend and I created this one with the body. And all my friends loved it and wanted one, so they said, oh, you should start a company, a collegiately licensed company. Oh, great idea. So that's what I did. So I started Collegiate Costumes, and I have the prototypes for the Wildcat and the Missouri. So fans out there of K-State or Mizzou, don't stone me. I have the prototype for K-State, Missouri. I just don't have the funding yet. So any funders out there, feel free to contact me later. But anyway, started out with just a prototype and no business knowledge whatsoever. I am a speech language pathologist, so have no education in business. And started from the ground up and kind of called everyone I knew and contacted anyone who I knew had ever had anything to do with starting a company or creating collegiately licensed things. And after many hours of figuring it all out, I got it off the ground and have a Jayhawk, collegiately licensed Jayhawk costume. I do not have a adorable, hilarious video, unfortunately. And that's a wrap for me.
I'm Rich Melton. I started my company, it's Cover 6 Gear, last September. Basically, it came about because in March of 2012, I finally got my, well, it was actually February of 2012, I got my concealed carry permit. And I started the tradition that every concealed carry holder does, which is buying holsters to try to make them fit. The problem is there's a lot of them and none of them worked very well. Everything I read on the forum was this type or that type, and so you start going out, and they range from anywhere from $25 all the way up to $80 or more. So after buying several of these, I thought, these are all a little excessive. None of them work together. I had to use different clothing for different holsters. So I thought there had to be an easier way. So about 12:30 one night, I just have this epiphany of why can't it be just this simple? And basically what I came up with was, this is my original design right here. where I use a single point swivel clip that you can actually manipulate while you're wearing it. So this little swivel, this little piece here moves. Now, the one you see today is not the one I started with, obviously, but I had the idea, but then I needed somebody to do leather work because I don't do leather. And so had a guy, he was really, oh, I can do that, and he's in Lenexa, so he's fairly close. As soon as I went and got 10 dummy guns, which cost $50 a piece, and said, okay, I'm going to have you make these, make me 5 or 6, and he said, I can have those done in about 6 months. And I'm like, dude, I can't wait that long, I mean, I got money laying out there. So it forced me to look at some other avenues. In fact, I was out in Windsor, Missouri. I sold siding and windows for my previous company, and we had a customer out there, and there's a big Amish community out there. I said, do you guys know of anybody who does leather work? And they said, I'll go over there and talk to whoever at the mill, and they'll tell you. They'll give you somebody's name. So I live in Kansas, so I'm way out of my area. It's like 3.5 hours away from my house. And they said, oh, yeah, my brother does that, but he lives down in Kansas. And I'm like, where at? He's down it's only 2.5 hours away from me, so I was feeling pretty lucky. So I go down there and I talk to this guy, and I basically said, hey, make me some up, and we'll see what happens. Now, I will tell you, it was a little difficult to get this Amish guy to start with the holsters because, weapons, Amish, it's really not their thing. Thank God for me, though. I told him, look, a holster's never killed anyone. And thank God for me, he can't look it up on the internet and prove me wrong. So anyway, so anyway, he goes ahead and he makes a couple, I get him, we go ahead and, work out a deal. I end up getting my first order of like 25 from him. And it's all these different holsters, and so I go to one show, I sell like 10 or 15, and I just keep pumping money back in the company every time I sell one. Now this one retails for $60. So what happened was we started buying more guns and more dummies and more things and offering more stuff to people, because what would happen was, and this is something for you inventors to think about, you always got to be thinking about how I'm going to make the next move. One of the problems I had was there are so many weapons out there, nobody can go, I can't have all those right away starting up. So what I did was, if I'm at a gun show and somebody comes up to me and says, hey, I've got X, do you have a holster for it? And I go, no, but I had a list with me of all the dummy guns that I could buy. And I said, here's the deal. I will buy that dummy gun. If you pay for it today, I'll buy that dummy gun. It'll take me about 3 or 4 weeks, and I'll mail you the first one ever. It'll be yours. You can tell everybody, I had the first one of these. And people jumped on that. And so they're prepaying. They bought the dummy gun for me. After that, it's profit. So they're paying the $50. I wait 3 or 4 weeks, and trust me, they will call you to confirm that you haven't forgot about you or them. But so basically, it evolved into now we currently manufacture for over 80 different weapons. I've got a list here if you guys want to see it later. And we make 2 different styles. This one's a hybrid, is what we call it, which is a Kydex and leather combination. All of these are made by me and my team in Gardner, while all of this style are made by my Amish guy. So on the packaging, it says handmade by Amish craftsmen. So we use that in all of our marketing. This one, obviously, they ask me, oh, are you Amish? And I said, no. But the thing is, with the vacuum forming, I tell everybody the Amish's technology is really not set up for vacuum forming yet. But they do have grandma over in the corner trying to do it. She's just not that good. But now I will tell you, too, another thing to think about, and then I'll pass the mic off. I came up with this system where all of our holsters of this style are standardized. This style is made by about 50 or 60 other companies around the country. And what it is Crossbreed is the name of the company that originated this design, but they have done nothing with it since they started. They have not improved on their design. They have just continued to spend money on marketing. So I looked at it, and I don't particularly care for this style, but I said, if I'm going to make it, it's going to be the best one out there. So you can see there's some extra holes in here. We can actually move our Kydex up or down, and all my patterns are standardized across my entire production line. So what that allows me to do is I can actually go into a shop and say they're nervous about inventory dollars. And I'm going to throw out some numbers here. I hope that nobody's looking online. So I will sell them. This retails for $70. The completed unit, I should say, retails for $70. I will actually go into a shop who's worried about money, and I'll say, look, I'll sell you these for 25, and I will sell you these for 15. You put them together. Now the advantage is this one sells for 45, so they buy this one for 45, or they buy these two for 40. The real big advantage is if they're not put together, they can spend a whole lot more 15s to have all these extra pieces for all the different guns available. So they can come in and take the leather piece and put whatever gun they want on, and it allows them to, their inventory dollars, if a gun, normally if this holster didn't sell, you'd lose $45 or have to get rid of it for some loss. Now they can worry about losing $15. So this has opened up a huge market for me because I was not only different and better, but I offered them something that no one else could. And in fact, this week we got our newest stocking dealer, which is OMB Guns out in Olathe. They finally put in a big order for us and started promoting us within their company. So I would challenge all you to think of different ways to get that product noticed in the market, and that's one thing that I've been pretty successful with.
Passing out my products because they're definitely girly products. I'm sure nobody would guess that. But I started off in 2005 selling. I went to QVC's product search. They held one of the product search events in St. Louis. And of course, I thought I had an actual appointment, but what I went to was a cattle call that was, it ended up being a total of 4,000 people that were screened in the product search. And they whittled it down to 100. And then they had 10 shows that were playoff shows, basically. And they ended up doing kind of like the shows you see on TV these days. They did a playoff, and the top grossing products at the end were basically Yahoo and all that good stuff. Shook's necklace extenders came in second place for an unknown product, and my first airing, we sold over $37,000 worth of product in just under 4.5 minutes. So QVC is an awesome forum. All of these vendors on this programming were all mom and pop shops. Their products had never been on the shelves. They had no marketing, no exposure, and yet I think that this video, I'm going to play it first and let you guys watch it. Some of it's a little cheesy.
We are on a quest to discover 100 brand new products. We'll visit 10 states in 10 weeks, and at each stop, we will meet 10 entrepreneurs with 10 brand new products. I'll be with you all the stops on the tour as we discover brand new American ingenuity, and it's all coming to you live on QVC. I couldn't be more thrilled to be spending the summer with you and meeting all of these product search winners from the year 2005.
Now let me introduce you to the inventor. Her name is Sherry McMahon. By the way, Shook's just sold out.
B. Thomas, it is a pleasure to welcome.
Sorry.
We are on a quest to discover 100 brand new products. We'll visit 10 states in 10 weeks, and at each stop, we will meet 10 entrepreneurs with 10 brand new products. I'll be with you all the stops on the tour as we discover brand new American ingenuity, and it's all coming to you live on QVC. I couldn't be more thrilled to be spending the summer with you and meeting all of these product search winners from the year 2005.
Now let me introduce you to the inventor. Her name is Sherry McMahon. By the way, Shook's just sold out.
B. Thomas, it is a pleasure to welcome you to QVC.
It's my pleasure, I assure you.
Yes, ma'am. In fact, we are sold out. And you know what I'm going to ask for? A hug.
But in a lot of cases, this is their debut. And so the emotion that they're feeling is, it's the passion. It's passion for their products and the fact that they're finally realizing their dreams. So it's very emotional for all of us.
We couldn't have picked a better day to be in Maine. Port Headlight is the most famous and photographed lighthouse in the country.
Well, we actually have a lot of other things that are going to help inspire you today. One of them is Maggie Harriman, and it's sold out.
Oh, good. Can I say something?
Thank you, sure. First, I want to thank God, my family, my friends. I could not have gotten
Isn't
here
that the
without
best?
all
There
of
isn't
you.
anything more heartfelt than seeing an entrepreneur who's had a dream. They get their one shot at fame, if you will, in front of a national audience. It sells out, and there's this outpouring of emotion that's just, it's natural, it's heartfelt, and you just want to stand up and cheer for them.
Warm and inviting day here in the country music capital of the world, O'Shea's Salmon Burger. Even on the Opry stage, the Yum Yum face is alive and kicking. Okay, you've just sold out, my man. And I think we're telling the story of small business people. And I think that really is what QVC started out to be. You know, we were celebrating American product, American ingenuity and innovation. All those things were happening in the early days of QVC, and I think as we've grown, it's easy to sometimes lose sight of where we began. And I think this, again, brings it back full circle. Seattle has provided us with lovely weather, excited folks, 10 brand new products. We could not be more thrilled to be here. Stacy Pettyplace from Westfield, Mass. This is a lady that, along with her parents, has been making candles for quite some time. Stacy Pettyplace, great to meet you. And guess what? It just sold out. Let's hear it for the ladies.
Mary Ann, thank you so much, honey.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
We are coming to you live from Alamo Plaza in San Antonio, Texas.
Sharon, it's sold out. Congratulations, my dear. You're
Really a great project to be working on. The vendors have been outstanding. We went through over 4,000 items to get these 100 people. It's been really successful, a lot of sellouts. We've really it's been an exciting project.
Here she is, Emily Blumenthal. Hi, Emily, how you doing?
I'm fantastic.
I'm gonna have to stop talking because you just sold them out.
Oh, thank you so
Congratulations. Thank you. You better hurry to pick one of these up. Now, we get both of these, right? The large and the small. Hey, Greg, don't even answer. You just sold out, my friend.
We want to thank the San Francisco Marina and all the great folks that came out to join us today. We want to thank our entrepreneurs.
Congratulations to you all.
I want to send a very special shout out to our merchants, to our QVC local remote production crew, to all the people that have made this tour possible, because it has been incredible to be able to travel the country and to pull off a tour like this. We could not have done it without the team of people that make this come together.
Goodbye from San Francisco.
Okay, so basically I think that video is just a great representation of the people that are in the room, and what I can share with you is the experiences that I had with selling with QVC. I continued to sell with them until 2010 when I actually pulled my product. So unlike what they say on the Shark Tank, QVC does not kick you to the curb. But there are a lot of other sites besides QVC. There's HSN, there's NBC, there's Jewelry TV. There's a lot of different companies out there that have on-air retailing, and they actually do have exposure that you just can't imagine. You know, the amount of sales that you have in the amount of time, and I'm here for you to ask me questions concerning anything about that. Yes.
When they say you're sold out, does that mean you're sold out of all the product you brought? Or are you required to bring so much product?
You are. You have to be prepared to have an investment up front. Basically, they had 1,200 units of product from me up front, and we actually oversold. Oh, good, thank you. We oversold, I think on the very first show, we sold 15-something hundred units. And what they do is basically they go into a back order situation. You process, they do a new PO and you process just for back orders, and then they'll do another PO and you go and you do it again. So
So you
Yeah.
really have to be prepared then.
You do. And, you know, basically, you're going to not only be paying for that product, you need to have the packaging. You're responsible for paying to ship your product there. So there's certainly some upfront expenses that are involved with it, but it was well worth it.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you again.
Last thing, I know we're not done, but I just want to encourage everybody to think big.
Okay, so we will open this up for questions for our panel now, and thank you guys so much. That was very, very nice. Let me see. Sean, do you have a mic? Where's Sean at?
I do not.
You do not? Okay. All right. Brian's going to give you a mic here, and I have a little one here, actually, so go ahead and raise your hands if you have any questions, and Sean will we have a question right up here.
I have a couple questions. I guess the first question would be, if I can remember them, I'm thinking big. The first question was, how did you guys determine whether you would produce your own, keep your name with the product and stay in there, or sell the product, or have you had opportunities to do that and just chose not to? That's my first question.
Well, my 9-year-old son wouldn't like me to sell it off, so my product, the way I look at a product is how many SKUs or how many vendors does it take to produce. If you look at mine, I got rubber bands, bolts, plywood, packaging, 4. Whatever your product is, the more people that's involved, the harder it is to put together as a manufacturer. So the easier it is, I always recommend, when I say manufacturer, that doesn't mean you have to do it in your house like I did, but I couldn't keep up, so I hired a manufacturer, but I still control it, and I still am a manufacturer. So the least vendors you have, the easier it is to do. I guess that's a personal question for yourself to know, because you'll make more money if you manufacture than license, because a license deal, you also lose all the control. You know, if you license, they pretty much do what they want with your product. So I guess it's a personal question for yourself, but yeah, I'm little China in my dining room and living room.
Does it ever did you ever have to confront the question of, okay, if I sold this to somebody, you're going to obviously lose some of the profit side, but you might sell 10 million of them or 1 million.
Right. Well, that's another question you have to ask yourself, because I have a product with license agreement too, and they already have the distribution. So it's again a personal question. If you can license it, it'll get to the public a lot quicker than if you did it by yourself. So, you know, I can validate that. In my story, I just kind of went on Kickstarter and, like I said, tiger by the tail. So I've been offered license agreement. I've been copied. I've been everything. So I didn't do it. I don't know. Maybe it's pride.
Do you have another question?
Yeah, I do too. You can address that one if you have something to add. The other one was, how do you go out when you have a product that you have done like a prototype because it was like you just saw the need, and then you use that product and people come up and go, that's so cool, you know. And so you start looking at it like you did with yours, and you're going, okay, now I need to find somebody that can really make these and make them. I mean, I made one, you know, but I'm not set up to do 10,000, you know. I guess maybe that also comes down to that question of licensing, or whether you feel you want to even go through that. But like with you, you had to find people, but say you went out and it just started hitting you with thousands and thousands of sales, would you be able to produce those, or would it just be a longer wait?
Well, what I did, whenever I started my company, originally the number one thing I had in mind, and this is something for y'all to think about, was I knew that for sure my Amish guy would be making them, and I would probably be doing all the packaging and everything else. So I started looking into my group about who I would contact to help me with that. Of course, my children were there, but they're not really good help. They're 6 and 9, and you know, just putting it in the bag is what they do, you know. But I looked at my group. In fact, when I launched what I call the hybrid line, I was inundated with orders, and it was presenting a problem. And so I was like at my wit's end because I had this huge order and I was trying to get it out. And I finally just posted on Facebook, hey, if anybody knows of anybody, I need help. I mean, I got the equipment, I got everything, because I'd already designed my entire production to be streamlined anyway, because I knew even at a slow pace, I was going to be in my garage pretty much every night anyway. So I had already thought ahead and bought all the stuff to make it where if I have 2 hours a night, I can go out there and crank out as many as possible. Well, what happened was when that rush came on, now all I had to do was train a couple other guys for basic things, and we're able to keep up. And now I've got those guys who are beyond basic things. They're on to other things. And I got a phenomenal response on Facebook. Carrie sent me, she was like, hey, look, if you know anybody, and there was people calling her, and she's giving out my number, and people all over the place. I had guys that I didn't even know it, but they called me, and they're like, I want to come to work for you. And I said, where do you live? I live in Gardner. And they go, one guy goes, well, I live in Topeka. And I'm like, dude, we're talking like 2-3 hours a night, maybe 4, but I mean, it's not guaranteed. Man, I love the holster you sold me. I want to work for your company. And I'm like, well, you already have one? He goes, oh, yeah, and I'm willing to drive. I don't care what gas costs. I want to be a part of your company. I love what you're doing. That's a really good feeling, So it definitely does. I knew I'd have to manufacture my own or handle it because I just didn't have the funds. I got this company started with a $2,500 loan from a guy who said, you can sell anything and I know it, and if you're making it, it's going to be good stuff. And so he said, just here's $2,500, go make a bunch, pay me when you can.
I've got a question for all of you, and my question is, do any or all of you have any kind of a written business plan at this point? How many of the 4 of you have a written business plan?
So when I started having no background in business, I contacted Johnson County Community College, and they have they're starting business program, the small business development center hooked me up with a counselor, and she was fabulous. So she said, okay, this is what we have to do. You have to start with a business plan. And I said, no, I'm really creative. I hate business plans. I don't want to do that. She said, no, you have to start with a business plan. So she made me start with a business plan. I had to do all of it, marketing plan, sales. I had to research how to even do a business plan. I had no idea. So I actually did write a business plan and figured all of that out. And I needed that too for investors. So she said, I didn't have the luck of a friend who's like, hey, here's $2,500, go for it. I mean, I need a little more than that too. But anyway, so my counselor at Johnson County Community College said, you need a business plan. You can't approach people without one and ask them to invest in your company.
Have you revised it in any way since you originally wrote it?
No.
Okay.
That was a bad question. Yes, no, I haven't, but it is something that I need to go back and do again. Yeah, it's something that'd be good for me to do.
Okay, my name's Sean Murphy. I'm one of the board of directors. I'll help facilitate the questions tonight. In response to your question, people ask early on, should I do licensing? Should I sell out the company outright, or should I just take a smaller percentage of a lot bigger thing? All those doors should remain open at all times, I think forever. And you don't need to make that decision early on. As the opportunity presents itself, then you evaluate it and make the right decision as you go. To your point, guys, there's so many resources that are available in Kansas City for free. Lots of great business leaders will help you for free. And if you don't know who to ask, you say, who should I ask about a licensing agreement? Who should I ask about how to write a dang business plan? Who should I write? And they'll go, I don't know, but you should ask Alyssa Waldman from JUCO, and she'll be able to help you out, or whatever the case may be. But there's so many people that would love to really, really help everybody in this room be successful, so just ask. Next question? Yes, sir.
Have any of you gone through the patent process? And when you went through the patent process, did you use local resources, or how did you do your patent search and drawings, et cetera, that were necessary?
The first patent that for Shooks, I went through John McMahon, who is a patent attorney here in Kansas City, and basically had him do all of that for me. The second one with accessories, which is my newest product out, I'm actually going with a man named Darcel Walker. He's out of Texas, just because he had more exposure with the world that I was going into. I actually was lucky enough to encounter Stephen Keys at the ERA show in Vegas, and he had made me aware that with accessories I not only needed a utility patent, I also needed a design patent and a copyright. So I went with Darcel for that.
I have a question for you, Sherry. Can you explain, I'm over here, a little bit more as to what your product actually is? We saw the QVC video, but explain to us what your product actually is.
You know, it's funny. I had a friend who said to me, you only develop simple little widgety things. Well, as an individual, that's all I can afford to develop, you know, because by the time, it's not just about the product. It's about the packaging. It's about the patents, the copyrights, the trademarks, the websites, you know, so there's a lot behind the scenes that goes along with it. But Shooks is actually a necklace extender or a jewelry hook. But at the time that I came out with Shooks, there were no chain extenders. There was no S hooks on the market. You know, Shooks is definitely still selling via, you know, Amazon and my website and everything. But at that time on QVC, that was a revolution, or whatever you want to call a revelation, because, you know, people were adding to their girth, and necklaces didn't have give to them, or they didn't have the extensions on them at that point in time. So it's a necklace extender.
So do you have any other products in the making right now?
Accessories, which is actually, again, a very girly product. It's a jewelry storage system. Instead of having everything in you know, boxes and bags and drawers and, you know, all over the house, this actually coordinates your outfit. It hangs everything, including eyeglasses, on the hanger with the outfit that you wear it with, because a lot of us are, you know, totally ridiculous and we like to accessorize. So it just gets it out there, and you can use it on hanger. You don't have to remove it from the hanger, and you can see it, move it forward, and you're pre-accessorized. So when you're in a hurry, it makes it really quick to get ready.
So guys, this may be a girly product, but many of you have significant other girls around, so it might be a good product for you to think about for a gift.
Thank you.
Who else has a question? Let's show of hands. There we go.
I guess it's kind of a follow-up to the patent question. For those of you that have not, I guess maybe the first question is, those who don't have it, have you applied for that? And if you haven't, maybe why not? And I think, Bob, you mentioned that you maybe had some competing products already produced, and I'm just curious how that's affected anything.
I filed my PPA provisional the day before the Makers Fair last year. I filed the non-provisional a day before the provisional expired, so call me a late bloomer, but the process takes 2 years they said, to even find out if you can get the patent, but you can retain the patent pending on your product at that point. You should never go to retail or public disclosure without a provisional PPA. So I hope we all have filed something, or we're in trouble.
I did not file any provisionals or a patent at all on any of my holsters. The main reason was, after looking up, I did an extensive patent search. A swivel holster, the first one I could find, I think, was developed in 1895, were the Cowboys, and they had the entire unit swiveled. So for me, it wasn't going to be anything. So I knew that if I was going to do this, I had to overcome that with marketing and other stuff that's going to make me different than everyone else. Like, and my Amish guy and I had this conversation too, because he's like, what happens when we get so big, people start copying us? And I said, well, you know, they'll never be able to copy you. No large corporation is going to go out and hire some Amish family to manufacture holsters for them. So we will always have that market. So that's why we promote that so heavily. And the fact that where they're made, they're handmade. The guy, he actually turns his sewing machine by hand, so he's watching every stitch go in. These are things I tell customers, and I tell the people who buy them at the store level, so they can relay that information to the people who are buying them, so they realize what they're getting. And it's sales when it boils down to it. You've got to prepare the people who are going to sell your product to be as good with it as they can be. So, in my estimation, I didn't need a patent.
Anybody else? Okay.
Well, how important was it for the product to be made in the United States? I mean, I know it was for you, but any of the others? I mean, I guess you make them in your garage, but not anymore.
You know, I've been told numerous times that I could actually, cut down my costs greatly by going overseas. But I've also interacted with a lot of small business entrepreneurs, whatever you'd like to call them. And, I'm hearing about it. They got a shipment from overseas, and the quality wasn't what it was supposed to be. In fact, I know of a vendor, he was in the video, his name was Louis. Louis actually, QVC canceled him after the show because his shipment, something happened with the quality between that run and the next, and they totally canceled, and he got all of that product shipped back to him. And of course, he had already paid the vendor for the product, and he was getting it in China. So, certainly I think that there are issues that people don't think about up front. And, not to mention the economy. I think people in America now want to support, the USA. And both my products are made in the United States. And I wanted that from the very get-go before I heard any of the horror stories. But it's certainly something to think about.
I can say mine were actually made in China. I did, though, work with the manufacturing rep here in St. Louis. So they did the quality control. They had, somebody who was checking on quality before I got 3,000 costumes that had a missing leg or something. So I did get some quality control from my manufacturer rep, but and it all worked out great. They were just as we had hoped, and they're great. But yeah, I think it's important. I don't know. I would say I would recommend at least looking for a manufacturer in the United States, or going definitely with a manufacturer rep or somebody who you know and trust that'll help you with that quality.
I have a question about that. Do you feel like in the end, in your research, pre-going outside the country, do you feel like you really saved by ordering from China or outside the country?
Okay, I'll repeat Sherry's question. She asked me if I feel like I really saved money going outside the country and going with China. I haven't really researched any other manufacturers locally, though. I'm hearing that there are, even in the Kansas City area, more and more manufacturers that are coming along. So I haven't researched that. I don't know. I don't have an answer.
My story went a little different. I, again, tried to produce them myself because I had my own laser cutter, and hire my family and friends, which I haven't done now, so they won't come around me. But I put a bid out on mfg.com, an RFQ bid, for laser cutting services, and all over the world, country, I wanted U.S. only, but, and they all got non-disclosures first, but the one that won the bid was Lee Summit, Missouri, so call it God's gift, I guess. So I can literally drive down there, and they run a laser 5 days a week, and I think 15 hours a day, 12 hours a day, 5 days a week. And they just bought another one to keep up. So I read some book, maybe Sean maybe read the book, but you can only do what's in front of you. You can only produce what you know or who you know. So my story is I reached out, tried to make the best decision along the way. So you can only do so much. And mine just ended up being U.S. made. Because plywood's hard to get back here. That's why I stopped from China.
All right, this is a kind of the reverse question. Most products don't succeed. Have you had a product that did not succeed, and how did you know when to give it up? Tell me about that process. There's this saying in business, if you're going to fail, fail fast.
Absolutely. Stephen Key says that, I believe. Yeah. So I love Kickstarter. I got to say that's about the best way you can do a market test quickly. I mean, you don't have to spend your market test to 30 days or 60 days. You can do 10 days if you want on a Kickstarter campaign. But that immediately will tell you if you got a winner or a loser, in my opinion. And you didn't really spend nothing but a prototype. So crowdfunding, in my opinion, every product I make, I want to crowdfund because that will tell me everything I need to know. So, and then once you do a crowdfunding project, I think I had 943 people across the world that I can contact at any time. So I build a network. So now my next product I come up with, hopefully soon, I can reach out to them. So it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. But they'll immediately tell you, yeah, or nay. I mean, so I recommend crowdfunding, definitely, wholeheartedly.
I can tell you that personally I've had several ideas that I wouldn't say they failed, I'd say they're really on hold. And I can show you one. I actually use it with my current company. I developed a deal. I used to do a lot of trade shows. And the problem was everybody would inevitably walk in front of my computer when I was showing a video and block my the screen. So as you can see, this has a laser on it. This thing right here, I call the Eiffel Tower, EYEFULL. And what it is, it's basically a 5-foot by 4-foot screen that telescopes up 14 feet in the air. And I use a projector that's mounted down below underneath the table here. And it shoots straight up. And even though that product, I wasn't able to get it launched, I did do all the development and the building and went through prototyping and got the entire thing to weigh less than 50 pounds, and I carried it in a double rifle case. So I can go anywhere with it. Flies with me. Although that thing didn't sell yet, it's getting exposure now with my other products. So ironically enough, the software product that I developed that I've been trying to push for several years, I haven't got much traction with it, but because I'm getting ready to start with independent reps, I will give the independent reps the software product and let them use it, and then it will tell me what they're doing. So for me, no product ever dies. It's just way ahead of its time.
Suggestion, go to Housewares. Housewares, the big Las Vegas and Chicago show.
I had a meeting with the Sands Casino about this unit before the big collapse, and they were really interested because the entire thing sets up in about 15 minutes. And I said, they were renting the big TVs, and I was like, this is one guy can move this around and do everything. So now that the market's starting to recover and I get the holster company up, this is going back out.
We have a question online, and the gentleman over here has a question, but I want to just reinforce or add on to the question about manufacturing in the United States or abroad. There's way more to consider than just your margins. There's way more to consider than just the convenience of being able to go down and talk to them face to face. For your target market, Rich Melton, perfect example, for your target market for firearms or ammunition or holsters, that market wants to see made in the USA. For them, it's incredibly, critically important. I want to know that an Amish guy in Kansas made that. I will pay more for that. I don't want a holster made in China. And so if you're selling a gadget or gizmo where there's not even going to have a manufacturer on it, and you can make 50% more net profit by doing it in China, by all means do it in China or Mexico, wherever the case may be. But think about your market. Who is the end consumer, and do they actually care? Lots of them don't, but some of them it's a make or break deal for sure. We got a question online, and sir, I'll be right to you.
Yeah, we have a couple of viewers here that have questions. First off, we have a viewer that wants to know, do any of you have product liability insurance?
I do not. There's nothing that my product's going to do to hurt anyone. Now, the firearm that holsters it, that's a whole nother story, but I don't make those.
I do, because my pieces are small. Somebody could swallow it, whether it be an animal or a baby, whatever. The plastic, the accessories, I don't think I actually would have an issue there. But for Shooks, I definitely needed it.
Yes, most definitely. I have product liability.
Well, yeah, I have a rubber band gun. So. and the charity bowl will be passed around. So if you want to donate to my product liability insurance, I would love to have your support. So, but here again, it goes back to my point. I had no idea who to call, so of course I called my guy that I insure my car with. I don't know. And just you keep going down that path, and finally I found a guy that was 5 minutes from my house that did it. I mean, who would have thought? And it was competitive, still 5 figures, but.
Okay, we have a second question here from a viewer. A viewer would like to know, I heard the best place to manufacture is Vietnam. What do you guys think about Vietnam? I don't know who it is.
They're picking on me because just last week I found an exact duplicate of my gun in Vietnam. So that person online, haha, you know, that's a good example. You know, I sat down with my patent attorney and I said, well, how do I protect myself? Because I'd say 70% of my sales is overseas. Just today alone, I sent 1 or 2 to Italy, 4 or 5 to Australia, Denmark, Norway, and I think I sent 1 to Las Vegas, New York, and Idaho today. So, mailman knows me. But how do you protect yourself? And overseas, my patent attorney says you can file a PCT, which is like a provisional patent, but you have to do it in every country, which is crazy. Or Steve Pope, he says, you know, you definitely want to file, if you're going to manufacture overseas, you should at least file in the area you manufacture. So the country you manufacture, you should file a patent, non-provisional and provisional patent in that country, at least. So if anybody has friends in Vietnam, come see me, please.
Yeah, I had a question for the lady that manufactures the uniforms. I'm very curious, being an American manufacturer, why did you choose outside the country before you explored things inside?
Well, basically, the way I got this thing started is I contacted anyone who I knew that had any information about how to manufacture anything, really, and that was how I got started. So my friend, who was actually Jeff Geldner, he used to play basketball for KU, his family manufactured collegiately licensed flags. His contact, who he put me with, the manufacturer rep. The manufacturer rep is the one who talked to the different people, and came back to me with some different options for who to manufacture with. It didn't really cross my mind at the time to really question where was I going to manufacture it. It just was one of those things that, okay, that's one thing checked off of my list, to be very honest with you. It was just one of the things. So I hate to say that, but that's true. I mean, I wish I could say, oh, it was made in America, but it was just a matter of.
Well, generally it goes the other way around, because you usually, when you go to a foreign manufacturer, you have to get a lot of them.
Yeah, and that is
and
true.
So, you know, people would tend to go to their neighbors or across the street, or in his case, Lee Summit, to get, you know, a dozen made or a half dozen or something like that.
Well, part of my
and then work up. But
yeah, part of my problem is because it's collegiately licensed. I had stipulations. I had to have so many. I had to be prepared to sell them. I couldn't just have 10 in my basement. I had to have a mass amount that I had to be prepared to sell to whoever needed them, the bookstores.
What was the stipulation? I assume you have different sizes.
What? Oh, I started with 3,000. Minimum order was 3,000.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but
yeah.
they didn't buy them from you because you're the quote unquote manufacturer. You had to have 3,000 on your premises waiting for the sale, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's tricky. I'm saying collegiately licensed things are a little bit trickier, I think. Well, they're just tricky. They're not trickier because everything has its own things. But licensed, there are a lot of rules with the licensing company that I have went through.
And NCAA, or is this KU?
This is, well, I had to go through the collegiate license company.
Okay.
Which is kind of the middleman between us and the schools.
Okay.
So I did a pretty intensive and thorough kind of application towards, I had to have people on my board. I had to submit I had to submit a lot of information in order to get my license. And one of those was agreeing to have enough inventory to actually make this happen and not just be a.
Right. Thank God you had that business plan.
Yeah, that's right.
What is your number one source of distribution right now? Where are most of your sales coming from?
Most of my sales are from the local bookstores and such. I'd like to kind of work on my online marketing because I think that's really where I need to be pushing some efforts. But right now I'm doing a lot of sales at the local bookstores. And
have you reached out online through the alumni directory for KU?
The Alumni Association for a long time had my product in their magazines. They sold my product specifically. I am not privy to their list of alumni, unfortunately. So I don't have direct access to their alumni, but they had it in their Alumni Association magazine, etc. And I sold quite a few through them.
I'm just curious if each of you would share your biggest aha moment, either like your biggest lesson learned, either good or bad.
I'll start. I think I've already shared this with you, but if you're going to pursue an avenue, whatever that sales avenue would be, it's like with QVC. I went on board and I thought, okay, I have to be ready. I have to have so much product, and I have to have this product ready to sell. And so, of course, thinking ahead, it's going to be QVC. I'm going to need a lot of this. So I purchased $13,000 worth of packaging. Well, guess what? It had to be approved by QVC. And not only are they thinking about what you have on the package, they're thinking about the weight of the package, the size of the package, the appeal of the package. So they're looking at everything along with the legal. And so ultimately, I got to recycle $13,000 worth of packaging. So that was a very hard lesson. It will make you cry. So I would definitely recommend, even though it looks appealing, to go in and purchase this large amount because you're going to get such a break on the cost. Start off with the least you can to make it the best you can, and then go from there.
I would say my biggest one, it started off pretty early, but when I got my first little bit of inventory and I started running around to all the gun shops and talking to them, one of the things I started training myself to do, I mean, I'm in sales anyway, so this is, it's just, you always train yourself for that call. I referred to, I had an Amish guy and I had my garage, and that's where a lot of that stuff was happening. So obviously if I walked into a shop and I said, yeah, I'm putting all this stuff together in my garage and man, it's really rolling, nobody's going to take me serious. So I've got a shop, I've got a crew, I've got guys, and you start talking like you're the biggest thing ever. And like logoed shirts, these are cheap, but you look so professional when you go somewhere if you have a logoed shirt that has your company name on it, because all of a sudden you are hands above every other, what I would consider legitimate sales rep that comes through the door. I mean, unless they're I worked for a multi-billion-dollar international company that wouldn't give us logoed shirts. And I'm thinking, well, how come I have them for my company and I don't have them for you? But it sets you apart, and that's the biggest thing I think for us as inventors. I know a lot of us aren't salespeople. I happen to be one. I'm fairly blessed with that. But if you're not, you need to be as legitimate or more than the other guy to even get them to see you. And I think that's the biggest thing that we all can think about, and how we're going to make that change to get our product into stores.
Okay, well, I suppose my biggest aha moment has been to realize that I'm really a starter, and I'm the creative. I love the creative, starting, figuring things out, solving problems, making it happen. The part that is trickier for me, or something where I lose a little interest, is the maintaining, sales, all of those things that have to keep going. So I think that might be tricky for a lot of kind of creators, because we're more in the do it, figure it out, solve it. So I'd say that was a big aha moment for me, and I have to employ people and have people do that, what I consider yucky part, in order to just kind of keep myself afloat, because I don't like that part.
I guess my aha might be I might retire selling rubber band guns. I don't know. But no, my aha moment, and I learned this from a real good friend of mine, when you start small, your margins that the inventor makes is very little. And so, you know, I'm a numbers guy. I might talk slow, but I like numbers. And when you want to be a manufacturer, you got, you know, so much gross profit. Well, I had all these people after the crowdfunding asking me for wholesale pricing. Well, I was wholesale pricing as if I was some big guy and trying to make a big cut, and there wasn't nothing left for the retailer and so forth. Retailers want to double their money. That just seems like a norm. So my dear friend says, you know, you need to sell it as if you were selling 10,000 units a week or whatever. So your manufacturer, when they give you a price, they're going to say, okay, small orders, I can manufacture 1,000 of them for this price, 10,000 for this price, 50,000. So you need to find the sweet spot and sell it for that price, even though you're paying $1,000 quantity, you know, because you'll open more wholesale accounts. I sell more wholesale accounts than I do retail accounts. I mean, I have a website. I get orders every day, but my bread and butter is other people reselling it online. I got yo-yo stores, kite stores, toy stores. I think there's 80 toy stores in Australia. So they're my bread and butter. But if I wouldn't have taken that information he told me, I would have lost all that opportunity, because it's a momentum after Kickstarter. And if I would have messed those numbers up immediately, I don't think they would have came back and asked me again. So that numbers, you can't look as a small guy. You gotta, don't make so much at first, make a lot more later when you get higher quantities.
Excellent. Mary said she has a lot more material we need to cover, so we're going to wrap it up here. Let's take one last question. Anybody? Okay. All right. Right up front. Make it easy.
If you have a product that's say, I didn't realize how this worked, but I guess we don't show product or get up. I saw you guys online, actually, a couple of you one night. But say you had a product that, okay, and it's for Harley Davidson, and it's a product that you're going, okay, I could go to Kawasaki or Yamaha or to a little retail store over here, and I could start out selling. And then Harley Davidson would say, let's do it ourselves. And then you get blown away because there's no way you can compete with somebody that sells. Is there a point that you hold back and say, I don't want to do this until I get the big dog? Because I kind of, that's been a concern with a couple products that I've developed. It's like, I could go right now and there's people that I could build them and I sell them because the people see me and they go, hey, I'd like one of those. But I'm saying in the end, if some big company like Smith & Wesson said, hey, we're going to go do one like yours, you know, well, you know, they could produce millions, you know. So was there ever a point, or I guess you guys didn't really go for the licensing, but that's always been a concern with me and anybody that has information, whether you sometimes just back off and say, I better just keep myself quiet until I'm ready to, you know, go big.
I can tell you, realistically, those major corporations like you're talking about, Harley, all those guys, if their only reason or only way they're going to knock you off is if you've sold 200,000 or 300,000 units. They're not even going to look at it for like the volume that I do. I mean, Smith & Wesson's going to be like, that is a waste for us, because you're going to have to show them there's a market for that, show them that there's all kinds of stuff. I know we all think that we have the greatest idea and it's great and we're going to sell millions of them, but reality is those corporations are like, it's going to take us 6 to 9 months before we even get our prototyping done. It's going to take us all this time. The marketing team's got to get on there. We got to figure out a marketing plan. We got to do all this. They're 2 years into it, and they're not going to do all that without selling any if they don't see the markets there for that product. So even if they are looking at yours and they go, oh, look, we can do this too, the time frame involved for them to actually get it off the ground, you're probably going to be selling stuff anyway. So you might as well go make money with it. Like mine, I mean, tomorrow someone could copy me and I'm just going to look at it as the sincerest form of flattery. And I'm just going to keep selling. Because if I'd have filed a patent, I'd still be waiting to be selling. You know, so just sell it.
Also, too, I've seen a lot of great ideas that people spent years and years waiting for the perfect moment. They've never made any money. And so there's a really, really thin line there. Do you have such an idea that's so grand it needs to be patented and totally protected and then go full bore and then sell the licensing to Harley and just be done with it? Or do you go with like Cover 6 and you build a brand, Cover 6, great military ties there, leather, made in the USA, Amish, but just by brand, he's building his company. So if somebody else comes up with the exact same holster, they go, yeah, but it's not Cover 6 gear. So it's one of those things, if your thing is really, really cool and you get that following and stuff, they don't care if somebody else picks it up, somebody else knocks it off. You'll still have your own market niche. You could make a couple $1,000,000 before somebody else even gives you a glance and goes, hey, he's got something over there. I'm a big believer in making money. I mean, I want to get stuff to market right now. And I know there are people that disagree with that, but it just depends on the situation is what it really comes down to. You have to explore it very, very carefully. So I'm not going to tell you to do that, but explore it carefully.
But I don't believe people go out and just become big. Everybody starts small. I mean, I read somewhere Amazon, the founder of Amazon, packed books in his garage on his knees. Wasn't even smart enough to get a table or something. I mean, everybody starts small. You can only work with your network you have. If there's anything to go away with is from success to failure is to do something every day or every week. Have something. It doesn't mean it's right or wrong, but do something. You know, if it means take your product and get a non-disclosure and talk to a manufacturer, you're doing something. And I got to say, everybody that succeeds or fails, they know, they tried, they did something. I've got friends, family, that, oh, I got this idea. And what are you doing about it? Well, you do something. That's the only thing I can say. And it doesn't mean it's right or wrong. Just reach in your little network and keep going.
All right. Thank you so much. Let's
Great
give them
job.
all a
Great
hand.
job.
Before you guys leave, what I'd like for you to do is let's go through each one of you and tell our audience what the best way of purchasing your products are.
My website is...
Get a mic.
Mike, yeah, let's get the mic to you.
We'll start with him. Okay.
We'll make sure we can hear you. Okay.
Sorry. It's shooks.com. It's S-hooks, if you will. That's what they look like. So SHOOKS.com.
Mine's going to be, if you're in the Kansas City market, there's several gun shops that have my holsters around, or you can go to cover6gear.com. That's COVER, the number 6, and then gear.com.
And that's GEAR.com.
Correct.
Okay.
And mine are sold in different bookstores and stores around Kansas City and Lawrence area, or you can also go to my website, collegiatecostumes.com.
And would you spell that, please?
COLLEGIATECOSTUMES.com.
Thank you.
BanditGuns.com, or just Google Bandit Guns. There's a lot of vendors online that sell Firebox, Fat 19, Simply Clever Toys. There's a whole bunch of them out there, but or just come up and talk to me. I always have it. Yeah, we need to talk.
All right, thank you guys. Let's give them another hand while they... Okay, we've got just a couple more things. Don't forget to fill out your speaker feedback forms. And we will have Garrett, if you could collect them from the people. And then also I want to thank Kurt and your helper back there for doing the webcast. Who is it? Tyler, I'm sorry, Tyler. Yeah, for doing the webcast. You can go back online if you want to and watch this webcast. Also, Classic Cups, which is just down the street on the plaza, it's just right on this street down like about the second or third block once you get into the plaza, is offering $3.50 on all pints across the board. So head on down there after we get finished tonight and meet each other and visit with each other. You never know who you're going to meet that might be able to help move your business or your invention to the next step. The other thing is we've got the name tags that you have. If you could please, when you leave, take those off, close them up, and put them in the little fishy bag that's being held up back behind there. And if you didn't check in at the beginning of the meeting, make sure you check in before you leave.
I'm missing something like 6 people. I think they're probably new people. Everybody that I recognize, I've checked off. So if you haven't signed in at the desk, come hit me up and I'll.
Go ahead, Garrett.
On these sheets, your name goes up here at the top. Otherwise, we can't pick you. Believe it or not, we get the names of the people who have been presenting. So put your name in the on the sheet.
Yes, you have a question? Do we have any manufacturers?
He was being nice.
Any manufacturers in the audience, please raise your hand so that any manufacturers in the audience, people that are manufacturers? Okay. What is it that you do, sir?
I manufacture mostly my own products.
Okay, so he manufactures mostly his own products. If you want to stay a couple extra minutes, we can go around and have everybody introduce themselves. Would you like to do that? All right, let's go ahead and do that very quickly. Do you want to go ahead and get it started, Garrett?
Just give your name, who you're with, what you do. If you want to talk about the product, as long as you have a provisional, you might want to tell us what it's about, or at least the industry. My name is Garrett Gardner. I'm with a company called Full Voice. I'm a vocal communication trainer. My job is to help people sound like they know what they're saying.
Thank you. Hello?
Just tell us.
Oh, I just got back from the restroom. I didn't know what was going on. I've been in the restroom. My name's Keenan Eves, and I'm from Topeka, and I've been developing products for years. I saw about this online and have been kind of in contact through the internet. So this first time here, it's very informative.
Hello, I'm Ronnie Dougal. I teach at MCC Maple Woods, biology.
J.S. Dougal. I've been coming here. This is my, I think, 4th time. I'm trying to get some traction on my inventions, and so that's why I'm here.
I'm Carl Moeller. I'm with StarTech.com, and we build websites and do other software development work.
My name is Tim Fitch. I went to the Maker Faire, want to get inspired. I guess I'm an inventor wannabe. I don't have a company, just kind of here to check it out and get started. Go do something, right?
That's right.